Hey all, Brett Sharmet here from IBM Engineering, and today we're going to take a look at one of our quick starts that is getting started with IBM Engineering Requirements Management, Doors Next. If you do not know how to watch a quick start, please refer to a previous video titled How to Start IBM Engineering Lifecycle Quick Starts. I'll link the video right here so you can click on it and go check out that video. Throughout this video, we will complete the following objectives: taking a look at browsing, searching, and filtering requirements, learning how to modify existing and create new requirements, analyzing and adding traceability between requirements, learning how to use change sets to control change in the requirements, collaborating with other stakeholders through linked worked items and conversation threads, viewing the history and audit trail for requirements, and finally, comparing differences when changes are made. This video will be made so you can throw it on in the background, and I will tell you exactly where you can click so you can follow along and don't have to be watching the video the whole time. To kick things off, we will be first starting with task 1. That is logging into Engineering Workflow Management. To start, click on Google Chrome, go up to Project Dashboards. That is the third folder over from the left in the bookmarks bar. Then go down and click on Avery Program Management. After clicking on Avery Program Management, we will be greeted by a login screen. Click on Pete. Then scroll down in the menu that pops up on the right side of the screen and click Susan. Once Susan's username has populated underneath user ID, click on Log In. We are now on the team dashboard for Hummingbird Program Management. One comment that I want to make here is that dashboarding is a common capability across the engineering lifecycle management platform. Dashboards can be created for the project or for teams, or personal dashboards can be created for individual users. Dashboards give instant access to the project data that is most relevant to you, whether you're a test engineer looking at the current defect list or a project manager looking at the status of the project. And what's more, the data presented in the dashboards is always up to date. Another thing that I would like to note out here is that all of these individual boxes presented on this dashboard are called widgets. And just to illustrate how many widget options there are available within our solution set, go over to the right side of the screen underneath the grayed out save button. There will be a button that says Add Widget. Click that button, and now we can see a whole bunch of widgets available to us in the Change and Configuration Management tool. But the thing is you can use a lot more widgets than presented within this tool set. If you click on the Change and Configuration Management drop-down, a menu will appear that will allow you to select a different solution within the Engineering Lifecycle Management platform. For an example, I will click on Engineering Insights, and say we want to add the About Me widget, we can click on Add Widget. And that will add it to this dashboard, and it will be confirmed by a check with an added sign next to it. We can also search for certain widgets using the search bar that is to the right of the drop-down menu, or we can page through widgets down at the bottom using the previous and next buttons. Another thing that we can do is we can select the category, so that could be all, engineering lifecycle optimization, or anything else that is available inside of the Engineering Insights widget menu. To exit this menu, go over to the right side of the screen and you will see an X button above the question mark button. And we can see the About Me widget is available at the top of the screen here. Now, we're going to hop over to the D0178 traceability dashboard. Click on D0178 traceability. It will take just a second to load this dashboard here, and we can see that we will have a bunch of different widgets available to us. Now, once the dashboard has loaded, there is just one comment that I want to make to y'all, is that many industry standards such as D0178 mandate traceability. Dashboards like these allow demonstration of traceability at many different levels. quickly and easily. This dashboard, for example, shows tables of traceability from requirements to design and test. Which we can see on the side of the screen here, we have a flow chart and we have a bunch of tables on this dashboard. Now, I'm going to scroll back up to the top of the dashboard and we're going to go check out Jira. Click on Jira. This dashboard is simply referencing data from Jira. This is an incredibly powerful feature for our engineering lifecycle management solutions, and it is able to do that because it is built upon the OSLC standards. And OSLC stands for Open Services for Lifecycle Collaboration, and what that allows us to do is reference data from other applications using third-party connectors, or they can be directly integrated within our solution set. Hopping out of this, we are now going to go check out Susan's personal dashboard. To navigate to our dashboard, go up to the User Dashboards bookmark folder at the top of Chrome, click on it, and click on Susan's dashboard. If you get a box that says, hey, changes might not be saved, should you leave the site, click on Leave. Once Susan's dashboard has loaded, we can see that she has a change request assigned to her. So one thing that I want to do here is mouse over 299 extend operating range. When you see a window pop up after mousing over 299 extend operating range, this is called a rich hover. And a rich hover is another common capability across the platform. Whenever an artifact has a link to another artifact, rich hover may be used to see information about the other artifact without leaving the current context. It works for any artifact, including links to designs, test cases, work items, and so on. It is a huge time saver. So let's go peer inside this rich hover and see what it has to offer. Click on 299 Extend Operating Range. This menu that has popped up right here is going to give us a bunch of different options regarding this change request. A couple things that I want to talk about first is the type. Clicking on this drop-down menu will show us that it is a requirement change request. For example, say it wasn't supposed to be a requirement change request, and maybe it was supposed to be an issue. We could change that right here. Getting out of that menu and clicking on Filed Against, we can see what it is filed against, and there's a whole list of options here. We can also change the severity of it. So for example, let's change moderate and click on major, because this is an important change request. We can also change out where it was found in, going down to the next menu, clicking on that, and we could change the sprint and also the base project. Here, the things we cannot change are the project area and the team area. We are not administrators of this change request. We can also see the creation date and who it was created by. Over on the right side of the screen here, we can add tags to it if need be. We can also click on who it is owned by and change that as well if we want to. Another thing that we can do is we can change the priority of it. Since it is already a high priority, we will leave it as that. We can also change when it is planned, and we can put in a time estimate. We can correct that. We can also put in time remaining, and we can put a due date if need be. Some other stuff that we can do is underneath description, we can change the description. Another thing that we can do is add a comment to it, so that way everyone on the team can see what is going on. What we're actually going to do today is we're going to change the status of this change request because we need to start working on it. To do that, go over to the right menu where it says New with a drop-down arrow. Click on New and go down and click on Start Working. Once Start Working has been selected with that drop-down menu, click the big blue button that says Save. It will take 1 second, and we can now see that Start Working has changed to In Progress. If we click on that drop-down menu again for In Progress, we can see that we can change it to Ready for Review, or we can reject the change request altogether. Comment that I want to make to y'all here is that tracking and planning work is built into this platform and allows project managers to clearly see the status of the project. Work may be quickly and easily reallocated to adjust to unforeseen circumstances or to balance workload, keeping the project on track. Now what I want us to do is go back over to the left side of the screen and to the right of Overview that is already selected. Let's click on Links. Move the mouse down to mouse over 4088. Remote surveillance should support a mission of up to 2 hours without a recharge. This will take just a second to load, and we can see there is another rich hover available to us. Click on this artifacts requirement, 4088. Remote surveillance should support a mission of up to 2 hours without a recharge, and we will be taken to the module where it lives. Now, a module is just another name for a document. In Doors Next, modules provide context to a set of requirements. Unlike a traditional document, however, in Doors Next, requirements are reusable. It can be used in multiple modules, removing the need to copy and paste requirements. In traditional document-centric approaches, copy and paste are clone, and own strategies are manual, time-consuming, and error-prone. Doors Next avoids all of that by allowing true reuse. Additionally, as you will see later, this allows traceability at a granular level, and I'll touch about that in just a second here. You've now completed the first task in this quick start. We are now on task 2 of the Getting Started with IBM Engineering Requirements Management Doors Next Quick Start. Task 2 is examining the stakeholder requirements, and within this task, y'all will explore the Doors Next user interface. You'll see how requirements are organized in hierarchy, and they can be text, graphics, tables, and so on. You will see how to display relevant requirement information using columns and how to filter the display so that only the requirements you are concerned with are shown. Note that this project is under change control, and so you will not be able to modify any of the requirements. And I'll get into that in just a few minutes here. What we want to do is scroll to the top of this module and look at 1.1 Vision. Put your mouse over that so that way it is highlighted in a pale yellow. Mouse over to the left of the 1.1 so your mouse is illuminating a darker yellow box that contains 1.1 with a down arrow. Click on that. That down arrow is a twisty, and what it allows you to do is allows you to collapse and expand menus so you can see hierarchy in a very quick and easy way. Another way to check out hierarchy is let's head up to the top of the darker gray bar, mouse over the page icon. When you mouse over that, it says Configure Page Settings. Click on Configure Page Settings, and we will see a whole menu pop up. This menu is incredibly important, and we will use it a lot. Then click on Show Full Hierarchy, and here is where we can change the hierarchy levels between 1 and 4 levels. And for example, we will click on Show 2 Levels. Now we can see what is affiliated with the top hierarchy of aviary UAV stakeholder requirements. Let's go expand everything again, and to do that, let's go up to the top of the Configure Page Settings button again. That is to the left of ID, and when you mouse over it, you will see it will form a darker yellow highlight. Click on that, and click on Show 2 Levels. Change it to Show 3 Levels. One thing that I want to call out here is this graphic that is affiliated with ID 4067. You will see a purple box that says Bird Feeder, a red box that says Hummingbird, and on the right side of the screen, Bird Watchers. When writing requirements, a sketch helps illustrate the meaning. In a traditional environment, users often have to turn to tools like PowerPoint or Visio. But the thing is that Doors Next allows these sketches to be created and modified right inside of this solution. There's no need to copy and paste from other tools. You can build these sketches directly inside of here. Another thing too is that any changes made regarding the sketch are recorded so that way you have full traceability. and we'll touch about that in just a little bit. One thing that I want to talk about now is this ID column. As we scroll down here, we can see that each requirement, header, graphic has a different ID associated with it. It's unique. Each row is an atomic artifact that may be a requirement, a heading, a sketch, a graphic, and so on. With traditional document editing tools, multi-user collaboration is difficult and impossible to manage. But the thing is that it's not impossible to manage here. With Doors Next, many engineers can work on the same document at the same time. As a requirement is edited, it automatically locks and then automatically unlocks when the author is done. Alternatively, the module may be placed under change control, as this one is, and managing and documenting the impact of changes in a controlled way. We're going to go back up to the top of the Configure Page Settings button. That, again, is to the left of the ID column. Click on that, and we're going to go down and click on Artifact Type, and it will take 1 second to add that column. Scrolling through the menu here, we can see that Artifact Type is populated, and we have various artifact types available to us, which goes to the idea that Doors Next allows you to switch from a document style to a more spreadsheet style view by easily adding columns. These columns may display any attributes of the artifacts in the module, but may also display other useful information such as link test cases, work items, or designs. Let's add another column. To do that, go back up to the Configure Page Settings button, click on it, and since we don't want to add any of these predefined columns, click on More. It will pop up a new menu, and one thing that I want to note here is that this dialog shows a full list of any piece of information you can add as a column. Columns may be added, removed, and resized here. You can also manually resize columns in the module itself. The list of available information may be filtered by typing text into the filter field or by selecting a specific type of artifact. In the case of traceability links, that column may be further customized to show attributes to the linked artifact, and I'll show you all that in just a little bit here. Let's search for an attribute. Click inside of the Type to Filter by Attribute Name search box that is located in the left-hand middle of the screen. Put in the characters ACC. Click on Accepted, and then click Add. We can now see that it is inside the list under Columns to Show. Here we can change the width in pixels. We can also change the organization of it by clicking on Accepted. We can click on Move Up or Move Down. This will change the order that appears on the module screen. Click OK. It'll take just a second. We can see here that we now have the column Accepted available to the right of the column Artifact Type. To show you all how to resize columns within this window here, mouse over Artifact Type and you will see two lines with two arrows appear. Click on that and you can use your mouse to drag the column wider or smaller. It's entirely up to you how you want it to be visually configured. You can do that with any other column as well. For example, I will enlarge the contents column. Another thing about columns is that columns may be added for any attribute of the artifact, as well as traceability links. These may then be stored as custom views, allowing the engineer to quickly switch between different perspectives on a set of requirements. Y'all will see this later, but first, let's explore a little bit of the search and filter options available within Doors Next. Above the word Contents, mouse over a funnel with a plus symbol. You'll see the words Add Filter appear. Click on that. A new window will pop up that says New Filter, choose an attribute. Inside the Type to Filter box, we are going to type the word TYP. Here, we can see a list of attributes that contain the letters TYP. Click on Artifact Type, And then we can see a bunch of modifiers to this attribute regarding artifact type. We can either use the type to filter box to sort out exactly what we want, or we can scroll down in this menu on the right and click on Stakeholder Requirement. Looking at the bottom of this window here, we have the options of close, add and close, and add. Close will close this window and nothing will be saved. Add and close will add this column and close the window. Add will simply add this column, but you will be able to add more columns without exiting this window. We're going to click on add and close. We can see that we have our accepted column. Let's take a look at how to find a specific word available within these requirements. Click in the Type to Filter Artifacts by Text or by ID box. That is to the left of the button you previously clicked on to apply a filter. We're going to type in the word mission and hit return. This is going to search and pull up all the requirements with the word mission inside of it. And to show you that, I'm just going to Control F, type in mission, so that way everything is illuminated with a mission, and we can see that Doors Next found the 3 cases with the word mission in it. Let's add a column for downstream traceability. To do that, go back over to the Configure Page Settings button. That is the button to the left of ID. Click on it, go down to the bottom, click on More, search for SAT inside of the Type to Filter by Attribute search field, and click on Satisfied By. Click Add, click OK, and now we can see that we have a Satisfied By column. Take a note here that since these are blue links, that is a rich hover, so we can mouse over them and see more information available. Let's go back to the Page Menu button. That is to the left of ID. Click back on More. Click on Satisfied By, that is over underneath Columns to Show, and click Format. We could have formatted it in this step, but I wanted to show how you could go back and edit these columns. Underneath Select an Attribute to Display, click on that drop-down menu, click on Accepted, then below Accepted, to the right of Select an Attribute to Display, click on another drop-down method and click on Verification Method. You'll need to scroll down to find that. We can see that we have 3 other options to add for Select an Attribute to Display, but since this is just an example of showing linked data, as this is demonstration data and many of these available attributes of these linked requirements have not actually been populated with any data, we're just going to take a look at 2 of these attributes. Some other stuff that I want to call out here is how you can display attributes as. You can change that to be labels and values or values only, and you can also uncheck or check the checkbox for show 1 attribute per line. It is by default it is selected to only show 1 attribute per line. It is entirely up to you. What you can also do is you can change it so that way you can trim words to fit, wrap words to show all, or hide linked text. For this demonstration, we don't want to modify any of that stuff, so click on OK. And now Doors Next will populate the list of requirements downstream that have satisfied by links to these stakeholder requirements. The first time this view appears, it may take a few seconds to populate, so please don't worry if nothing appears to happen straight away, just wait a few moments. Taking a look at the satisfied column now, we now see the accepted and verification method attributes. One thing that I want to call out here is that traditionally, traceability is maintained in separate documents, such as spreadsheets. That's a super manual process that is prone to a lot of error and is very costly to maintain as it takes up so much time. It's also outdated as soon as the author clicks save. But here, traceability is added directly in Doors Next using the web browser. Traceability is often mandated in many industry standards. The IBM Engineering Lifecycle Management platform removes the manual, time-consuming effort associated with demonstrating compliance to such standards. And as you've already seen, traceability, and gap analysis reports are easily visible on the dashboards. Now, since we just spent all this time customizing this view, we're going to want to save this for later. To do that, bring your mouse over to the view pane. What views are is a window that when you're looking out of it, it's exactly what you want to see. And to save this view, all you need to do is click on the button that says Save as New View. That button is located to the right of the button that is located to the right of the search box that says Search Views. It looks like a page with a little clipboard and a plus. So click on that. Now we have the option to name this view. So we will name it Mission Requirements. We can change the type of the view here, whether we want it to be only available for us, that is a personal view, or with the team, that is a shared view. Another thing that you can do is you can have this view only available within this module that is 4014 Avery Stakeholder Requirements. We could have it be available to all modules of this type, that is Stakeholder Specifications, or we can have it available to all modules. We can also have this be made a preferred view. Another thing that we can do is we can put in a description. So our description could be that this is we could do requirements for aviary mission. It is a good habit to get into putting in the description, so that way if, say, someone leaves the company, gets switched to a different project, or something else happens, anybody can get up to speed very easily and very quickly. Finally, click on OK. We can see this green mission requirements view has now appeared in the left view pane. To be able to switch to a different view, all we need to do is simply click on it in the view pane. To do that, let's click on one.artifact type, and we can see a different view became available to us. Now let's click on two.requirements attributes, and now we have another view available to us. Say we want to get rid of a view altogether, all we need to do is simply click on the selected view. So we'll click on two.requirements attributes, and we can see that we are back to the main module now. Let's go take a look at how we can search artifacts throughout the entire project or just in this module. Bring your mouse up to the top right hand corner, and we're going to take a look at the Search Artifacts box. That is below Susan with her profile picture. It is near the gear icon for settings. Search Artifacts will search for artifacts across the entire project and not in this module, but we just want to take a look at artifacts within this module. So to do that, click on the glass. Then when you mouse over, it says find/go to. So click on that, and this little window will pop up that says module find. Under find what, we will put in the word mission, and we can look for forwards or backwards, wrap option, or we can replace it with something. Finally, click on find. You can see that the word mission is highlighted for us within this module. Click close. Now let's go search for the word mission across the entire project. Click on the Search Artifacts box, and you will see this little window pop up that says Quick Search. Type in the word mission. You will see in real time all of the artifacts and stuff within this project that says mission. Since it's blue, we know that when we mouse over it, it can perform a rich hover. Take a note on this page that there is only one of 10 of 23 available to us, so to navigate to the next, all we need to do is click on Next, located over on the right side of the screen, and to get back to where we were, we can click Previous. Another thing that we can do is click on More Options. We can change exactly what we would like to do, so we can look at Modified On, Modified By, Where to Search, and Artifact Types. To get out of the search box, simply just click away from it, and it will disappear. You've now completed the second task in the Get Started with IBM Engineering Requirements Management Doors Next Quick Start. We are now on Task 3 in the Getting Started with IBM Engineering Requirements Management Doors Next Quick Start. Task 3 is about creating a change set and modifying the stakeholder requirement. In this task, you all will first examine the traceability from the stakeholder requirements to the system requirements that satisfy them downstream. You all will then create a change set such that you can start editing the requirements to enact the requested change. Lastly, you will edit the stakeholder requirement to begin enacting the change. Let's go back to our custom view of mission requirements. Click on mission requirements. After clicking on mission requirements, mouse over 4104. Remote surveillance should support a mission of up to 2 hours without a recharge. We can see a smart hover appears, and some things I'll call out here is underneath attributes. We can see that this type is a system requirement. And what I want to do is I want to go down to the bottom of the screen here where it says show more and click on that. Once this loads, we can see that this linked requirement also has a satisfied by link to another requirement further downstream. It also has a trace architecture element to design and to a validated by link to a test case. To get out of the rich hover, we can either move our mouse away, we could either click on the screen, or we could have hit the X that was available on the top right hand corner of the rich hover. One thing that I want to talk about now is link validity. What that means is how we have this green check available for 4038 and these question marks available for 4092 and 4104. That indicates the validity of the link. Whenever two artifacts are linked, if one of them changes, then the link between them automatically becomes suspect, which happened in this case. The suspect symbol provides an indication to the engineer that an analysis is now required and that the other artifact may also need to change. You'll see this in a moment when you edit the stakeholder requirement. For now, click on the gray question mark and change it to valid, along with the other one for 4092. Let's hover our mouse over 4088, the contents box, and we can see that it says not editable. You do not have permission to edit this attribute. At the top screen here, you'll notice a message inside of the light blue box. Here, change control is optional and is typically switched off at the start of a project when there's a lot of requirement churn. However, when the project has reached a stable state or a particular milestone, change control might be enabled. This allows the team to manage the impact of changes, as well as ensuring the changes are only made within the appropriate approvals and that those changes are properly documented. To be able to change this, in the top right hand corner where it says Avery Base, let's click it. The button that we just clicked, Avery Base, also indicates the current context, which could be a baseline, the current state of work, a variant of the project, or a personal stream. In this case, the project has two variants, Avery Base and Avery Advance. The project tile will change when a new context is selected to indicate the current context. We're going to come down to the bottom of this menu on the right hand side and click Create Change Set. In the name field, type Extending Operating Range. Click Create. You'll now note that Avery Base had changed to Susan's Avery Base. In this case, since we're in Susan's dashboard, creating a change set will allow Susan to work in her own personal contexts so that her changes are isolated from the rest of the team. This not only facilitates parallel working, but also prevents Susan's changes from being visible to the rest of the team until they are ready. This could also be controlled by not allowing those changes to be shared until they have been approved, linked to a work item in engineering workflow management with the appropriate approvals. We're going to go back up and click on Susan's Avery Base. Click on Link to a Work Item. That is the first menu item available underneath Change Set on the right hand side. Click it, and we have this little window pop up. Click on Avery 2.0 for a drop down menu to appear, and click on Hummingbird Safe, Program, and Team Management. We have a different window that will now appear. And just to call out a couple things here, Say we screwed up about the artifact container, well, we can click on that drop down menu and change it back to Avery 2.0. If there is other project areas, we'd be able to change that here, but since there's only one project area, we will leave that alone, or we can create a new project area. We can also search by keyword or work item number. If we click on that drop down menu, we can see a whole bunch of options available to us. We can also search by query as well. But what we're going to do is we're going to type in the word extend into the work item number. Click on 299 extend operating range and click OK. Let's go back up to Susan's Avery base, and we can now see that there is a work items link to change set and also a change set available. Now let's click outside of Susan Avery base's menu and let's edit the requirement that deals with ID 4088. Remote surveillance should support a mission of up to 2 hours. All you need to do is mouse over that requirement and double click inside of there, or you can hit the pen button, whatever is easiest to you. Let's change 2 to 3 hours. Take a note here that this is like a regular Word document. You have all the features of a Word editor where you can change the font size, bolding, italic, and headings, all different options. And we'll quickly scroll through some of these options so you all can see them. So you really have a powerful editing feature right here. You can also insert tables, horizontal lines, images, artifacts, symbols, and links directly. You can also color the box itself and the font. You can also change the alignment, bullets. You have a whole different amount of options available to you right here. Let's select all of the text and change the font size to font size 11 since 10 is just a little bit tiny. To stop editing, let's just click outside of that box. We can see that that change has been made, and now over here on the validity side of the screen, the green check is now gone and it is now displaying us a gray question mark because a change has happened. The link has become suspect because a change was made. You have now completed the third task in the Getting Started with IBM Engineering Requirements Management Doors Next Quick Start. We're now on Task 4 in the Getting Started with IBM Requirements Management Doors Next Quick Start. Task 4 is regarding modifying the affected system requirements. And in this task, y'all will navigate from the stakeholder requirement to the affected system requirement. You will then begin modifying these requirements and adding new ones. You'll also see how comments may be added to requirements, creating conversation threads that are maintained for an audit trail. To start, in the Satisfied By column on the right side of the screen, click on 4092. The hummingbird shall remain airborne for at least 2 hours. Note that we are now in Module 4015, the Avery Systems Requirements module. In the Views panel, click View number 4 that talks about up and downstream satisfaction. Right here we can see our selected requirement 4088. We can see that this view shows both up and downstream requirements. This also has the upstream links from the 2 affected requirements that are suspect. Another thing to note here is that link validity is visible at both ends, which is important if different teams are working on the linked artifacts. A different team may be responsible for the system requirements, and a different team would most certainly be responsible for any linked test or designs. Now, let's get rid of this view. To do that, simply click on what we clicked on to begin with. That was 4. Up and downstream satisfaction, and we are back to the base module view. We are going to double click inside of requirement 4092 and change 2 to 3 hours. To save this change, all we need to do is simply click away. Now, we're going to go add a comment back to the artifact that we just edited. To do that, click back on the artifact, then come up to the top right-hand corner of the screen here, where there's a line and an error, and when you click on it, it says Show Sidebar. Let's click that, and we can see this little menu that popped up. Click on Artifacts Comments to expand that option. Click on the speech bubble with the plus symbol. Then when you mouse over it, it says Comments. Then click on Create Comment for Artifact. In the subject field, let's type in Power Drain. In the comment field, type increasing the range will increase the power drain, comma, something we need to consider. Again, in the comment field, type increasing the power range will increase the power drain, comma, something we need to consider. At the bottom of the window, click Select Users. In the Users field, search the word Pete, and Pete will be available here. Then click on the arrow to the right of Pete's email to add him. Finally, click OK. This comment is going to start a conversation thread. Users in the Directed To field would automatically be notified, and we can see in the Directed To field we have IBM and Pete. Conversations like these are traditionally had through email, which are often lost. But here in Doors Next, these conversations are maintained in context against the requirements for an audit trail. Comments can contain rich text and even emoticons. Another thing with comments, which we'll get into in another demonstration, is the idea of baselining, is that for different variants of your project, you have access to the comment history, so you can see why, for example, in this case, Susan and Pete need to talk about increasing the range will increase the power drain, and that's something that they need to consider. Finally, next to the cancel button down below, click on OK to close the comment dialog. The window over on the right hand side of the screen where Susan's comment has been sent to Pete. And Pete is now able to comment directly back on this to have a conversation with Susan, and Susan can be notified when Pete responds. We're now going to add a new requirement. After requirement 4092, the hummingbird shall remain airborne for at least 3 hours. To do that, select the button that is to the left of 4092 and click on it. That looks like the little Pages menu button, and we're going to come to the top and click on Insert New Artifact and click After. Take a look that the requirement is inserted directly into this module immediately after requirement 4092. In this field, we're going to type, the hummingbird shall notify the pilot when the remaining power reaches 50%. Again, we're going to put in here, the hummingbird shall notify the pilot when the remaining power reaches 50%. Since the default text size in Doors Next is font size 10, that's a little bit tiny for me to see, so we're going to select it all. We're going to go up to the top here and change it to font size 11. Then, to save this, we just need to click outside of it. Now, we can see that this requirement now has a unique ID associated with it that is 6548. This unique ID is probably different when you will do this quick start. Something to note here is that Doors Next also includes the capability to assess and improve the quality of any new or existing requirements using Watson AI. That's a little bit outside of this introductory lab, and there is a separate quick start lab available called Improving Requirements Quality with Requirements Quality Assistant if you all want to see the features of Watson AI and Doors Next. Now we're going to take a look at inserting an artifact of a different type. To do that, we're going to scroll up to 1.3, the hummingbird, click on it. Then we're going to go over to the page button that is now visible. Click on that, go up to Insert New Artifact, and we're going to click on Below as a Child. Now this artifact is already created with the proper heading number that is going to put it below 1.3. At the top of the screen here in the word editor, we can see that it has a type of heading. We want to change the heading type to information, so click on heading and a drop-down menu will be available, and click on information. In this text field down below, we're going to type in the Aviary Flying Unit UAV in parentheses is codenamed the Hummingbird with a hyphen between code and name. Again, type inside of the box, the Aviary Flying Unit UAV in parentheses is code dash named the Hummingbird, where a dash is a hyphen. Now, either select or double click the Hummingbird text. we're going to change the color of the text to blue. To do that, come up to the A that is available on the top right hand corner of the word editor and select one of the blues. Another thing that we're going to do is select all of the text and change it to font size 11. Finally, click OK to apply the changes. You've now completed the fourth task in the Getting Started with IBM Engineering Requirements Management Doors Next Quick Start. We are now on Task 5 of the Getting Started with IBM Engineering Requirements Management Doors Next Quick Start. Task 5 is about showing and modifying attributes. In this task, y'all will add columns for requirement attributes. Y'all will see how the typing mechanism only allows the correct attributes for specific artifact types to be edited, and y'all will see how attribute values may be changed individually or in bulk. First off, we're going to apply a view to get started, and to do that, we're going to click on Artifact Type of one.artifact type that is the first view in the view pane. And now we need to add some columns for the priority and verification method. To do that, go back up and click on the Configure Page Settings button that is to the left of the Artifact Type column header. Go down to the bottom of the menu and click on More. In the Type to Filter by Attribute Name field, type PRI. Click on Priority, click Add, then delete PRI, type in MET, click on Verification Method, and click Add. Finally, click OK. It'll take just a second for this to load, and using the horizontal scroll wheel at the bottom of the page, we can see we now have priority and verification method. Since my monitor is a little bit on the smaller side, I can't see the full verification method, so what we can do is we can mouse over the verification method column header, and we can click and we can drag it wider. If that doesn't work, we can go back up and click on the Configure Page Settings button, go back down to More, and we can change verification method underneath width pixels from 79 to something like 150, making it be double than what it was. Finally, we can click OK again, and now we can see that it does not get cut off anymore. Since we just customized this view, let's make it be a saved view. Come over to the left side of the screen in the view pane, and there is a little save button available where we can do save changes to this view, but what we want to do is that we want to save this as a new view. So to do that, click on the button above it that shows the plus symbol with a floppy disk and a page with a plus, and when you mouse over it, it says Save as New View. Click on that. The window will pop up, and for the name field, we're going to put in 9.requirements attribute. Again, we're going to put in 9.requirements attributes, and now underneath type, we're going to change it from personal to shared, because we want everyone to be able to see this view. Finally, we're going to put in a description, and for this case, I will put in team view. Great idea to get in the habit to fill out as many fields as possible. Finally, once we have everything here on this window that we want to see, click OK. It'll take just a second, and now we can note that we are automatically loaded into the view that we just created, that is requirements attributes. Let's collapse the menu, and to do that, we're going to go over to the right side of the screen where we see the arrow and a line pointing over to the right, that when we mouse over it, it says hide sidebar. Click on that so we can see the full view pane a little bit better. So now let's go back up and search for an artifact. To do that, mouse over the type to filter artifacts by text or ID box and put in 4092. This is a system requirement that we previously edited, talking about how the Hummingbird shall remain airborne for at least 3 hours. Previously, we changed 2 to a 3. And we can see that there's a verification not set. So we need to set this verification method, and to do that, simply click on the pen, and we have a whole menu available to us. Now, check test and uncheck not set. Finally, click OK. And we can see that it was automatically updated underneath verification method where it now says test. We also want to change the priority, so to do that, mouse over the priority box, click on the little pen, and finally click low priority. Now, to get rid of the filter that we just applied, come up to artifact ID is any of 4092, mouse over that and click the minus symbol that says remove filter when you mouse over it. Here are all of our artifacts again within this module. To modify some artifacts in bulk, all we need to do is come over here, click the checkboxes for a few artifacts, click the page menu button, and we can see information about editing the attributes for 4 artifacts. So we will click that, and now we can see a whole bunch of attributes that we can edit, and what we're going to want to do is click the check on priority, and we're going to want to set that to medium. Finally, click Save. Select a few more artifacts. Again, it doesn't matter what artifacts that you use the checkboxes on. So for this example, I'm just going to check off 5 artifacts. Then I'm going to click on the menu button located next to one of the artifacts and go up to the top where it says Edit the attributes for 5 artifacts. And we are going to change the verification method by clicking on verification method. And in this menu, we're going to change it to test and demonstration and then uncheck not set. Finally, we will hit save. It'll take just a second to update those, and we can now see that we bulk edited a few artifacts. Since we made all these changes, we're going to want to save the view, and to do that, where it says requirement attributes in the view pane, there is a little floppy disk, and we're going to click on the floppy disk. You have now completed task 5 in the Getting Started with IBM Engineering Requirements Management Doors Next Quick Start. We are now on the 6th and final task for the Getting Started with IBM Engineering Requirements Management Doors Next Quick Start. In task 6, Audit History and Change Comparison, y'all will take a look at the audit trail that is automatically captured by Doors Next. You will then set the link validity to valid for the requirements you manage, and then before attempting to deliver your changes to the team, you will see how to compare the differences between Susan's work area and the original requirements. Finally, y'all will attempt to deliver the changes, which will not be possible as the project is under strict change control, and although Susan has linked her changes to a work item, that work item does not have the correct approvals. To get started, we're going to go over to the top right hand corner of our screen where there is 3 little lines forming what looks to be like a hamburger. When we mouse over that, it says more actions, so we're going to click on that and we will see a menu that will pop up to us, and we're going to scroll down and click on Open History. Something that I want to note here is that history may be viewed for individual artifacts, or in this example, we're taking a look at history for the entire module. On the left hand side of the page, next to Revisions, we need to click on Audit History. It will take just a second to load all the changes that have been made, and we can see here all the changes that Susan has been made since we are in Susan's account that we have been doing throughout the course of this module. Now, go over to the left side and click on Expand All. This shows us even finer detail into what was changed. Scroll through this menu just to see absolutely everything that was changed and added throughout the course of the module. Now, go back up to the top right hand corner and click on Close History. We're going to look at applying an upstream view. To do that, in the Views panel, click on View number 3, Satisfies. This view shows upstream traceability. Now, we need to go find artifact 4092. To do that, we could either search that in the filter box up above, but I'm just going to scroll up, and I've already noticed that 4092 is previously selected for me. But it is a suspect linked, which we can tell that by the gray question mark available underneath the Satisfies column. Since we know that this artifact is valid, we need to change the validity by clicking on the gray question mark and clicking on Valid. Now, let's take a look at some of the changes that have been made. And to do that, we're going to come back up to the top here and click on Susan's Avery base, and we're going to click on Compare with Stream. What we need to now do is click on Next up at the top right. Since there are no differences between the folders, we need to hit Next, and now we are looking at these artifact views, and we can see that there is a difference between a view and 2 different artifacts. Down at the bottom, we can see something that says in both but different 11. This might vary for y'all, but you can click it and you can see everything that is located in both of those streams, but is different. This number will be different based upon how many of the previous artifacts you set as valid or did any other modifications to them that we were doing in task 5. Taking a look at these artifacts more in depth, I'm going to come up to the top here and I'm just going to click on one of them. The one that I'm going to click on is 4015 Avery System Requirements. It'll take just a second to load, and what it's showing you here is the difference between the source and the base. Now, one thing that you can do in this menu, we don't have to go over to the left pane and click on 4092. What we can do is we can come down here to where it's blue, mouse over 4092, the Hummingbird shall remain airborne for at least 3 hours, and we can click on Show Changes Directly, and this will bring us into a window that will show exactly the changes that were made to this artifact. Some other options that we have is we could do synchronized scrolling, so if there's a lot to read here, we could just check out that box and scroll down. We can also page up and page down, and we also have some other options available to us for side-by-side comparison, or we could click on Open Artifact and go into the source, target, or we could open both of them side by side. But what we're going to want to do is hit the X that is in the top right-hand corner of this little window to close out of it. Finally, click on Create Report, and we're going to have Include Component Properties checked, Include Folders checked, Include Artifacts checked, and Include Chain Sets checked. Now you can choose the output format that you want, but we're just going to leave it in PDF format versus a Word document. Finally, click on OK. This will take some time to create the report, and I will come back once the report has been generated. Now that the report has generated, we can hit close, and to check out the report, come down to the bottom left-hand corner of the screen where the report has downloaded. Open the report. We're scrolling through the report, we can see everything that has been changed, but let's hop back inside of the quick start and finish it up. Click on Close on the Compare Configuration screen, and click on Susan Avery Base up in the top right hand corner, and since we're happy with everything, we're going to click on Deliver Change Set. Uh-oh, we had an error. This change set must be linked to an approved change request to be delivered. Click on Susan's Avery Base, then navigate over to the left-hand corner of this little menu to our work item that is 299 Extend Operating Range, and click on that. Head over and click on the Links menu that is to the right of Overview, and note that underneath Change Sets, Existing Operating Range has been populated there. Finally, to the right of Links, click on Approvals. Take a look at there are several approvals required from Dave and Pete before this change set can be approved. In a real-world project, Susan would of course be able to continue implementing the change request. There are other system requirements that need to change, and these would impact subsystem and component requirements further downstream. These changes would be reviewed and approved before change set delivery would be authorized. What I just mentioned is just a little bit outside the scope of this short introductory Quick Start lab, but there is a demonstration video available that shows this process, including creating a baseline with electronic signature. That is available inside the ELM for medical devices videos. Congratulations on finishing the Getting Started with IBM Engineering Requirements Management Doors Next Quick Start. As always, please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any other questions, and make sure to check out the other videos available for these quick starts.